How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I've just got a bit more of a chilled video. I'm going to go and do a mission with the Voron AE. The mission I'm doing is called Rusty Legacy. It's on Island Lake. It's not really any major mission or anything. You just got to tow a CK back to like some farmer's house. Obviously I've done my top 10 favourite trucks video recently, but I ended up skipping number 8 because originally I was going to do trucks and scouts together, but then I've decided just to split them apart, and I'm going to do my favourite scouts video, which I've been playing around with some tonight just to finalise which order. But yeah, obviously because I've missed that number 8 slot, I wanted to I've been also testing a few trucks that, yeah, trying to decide which one I'd put at number 8. If I'm honest, possibly I'd move it to 10 and drop like the Colob down or something, but other than that, it's I've been trying a few different vehicles. I've got one that I'm pretty certain I'm going to yeah, I'm going to let have the position in the end, whereas this truck, I honestly do think it's a very good truck, the Voron AE, but yeah, I've been testing it around. I just wouldn't say it's one of my favourite trucks, and another reason why I suppose this missed the list anyway, because it was originally going to be this kind of versus the GMC 9500, but I believe I even said in that video, like, this is objectively a better truck that can do more stuff than the GMC, but the GMC is a hell of a lot cheaper, and you can like disengage the all-wheel drive and stuff and do the Jeff Special. And it is like, I have had quite a bit of fun in the GMC, and it is a pretty decent truck now, especially for the money. Whereas this thing, if money isn't really the main issue, then it's like an extremely good truck, and it's worth getting. And I wanted to do a bit of gameplay with it. I wanted to, yeah, find something to go and do a mission, because like I said, it is a very good truck. It probably is worth getting. The only thing I don't like about it, that I still can't, like, yeah, it kills the fun off for me, is the steering on it is too slow and too shallow in total. And another reason, to be honest, why it did miss out on the list is obviously there's 3 Vorons. This one, the Voron Grad, and the Voron D, whatever, followed by its phone number as usual. Yeah, I kind of wanted to pick one of the 3 Vorons, and I definitely do prefer the Grad to this. I would say, though, this is possibly got the edge as far as in mud goes. I would say the Voron Grad's probably better in snow, but either way, they're all like pretty high on the list of trucks that are worth getting. I suppose between the 3 Vorons, it's just a case of like which one you prefer, really. Obviously, the Voron D's only got the special, like its own special off-road gearbox, which, to be honest, is pretty much the off-road gearbox, I think. Like, there's not that much difference in them. But yeah, as you can see, this thing motors along pretty nicely. Like I say, of course, I've got a loaf with me. You always got to have a loaf. Any situation you get into, you can always improve that situation by having a loaf on you. That's what I've learnt. Every time I roll and I haven't got a loaf on me, first thing I say, God damn it, I wish I had a loaf. I should have had a loaf. But that doesn't happen anymore, because I've always got a loaf. It's a goddamn horse of a vehicle. I mean, it's probably somehow, like, if nothing else, moral support for the Voron AE. It's definitely helping me get through these muddy bits. I have to say, though, near that house, quite a lot of the trucks do bog down a bit there. This did eventually, but it made it through there pretty well. I kind of find all this, like, this bottom muddy area and a lot of Island Lake to be a bit of a troll, to be honest, as far as, yeah, it just stops your vehicle. There's no getting around it. So going along here, though, I'm sticking to the left a bit, because as you come out of this section, that bit there is a nightmare. It's like one of the sides of the Black River crossing. It's just horrible. When I took my CK 1500 across there ages ago with a Scout fuel trailer, absolutely nailed me. Just trying to get out the other end, it wasn't really the middle part. It should appear as well, just before I turn right here to go to Island Lake, should be able to see, yeah, like that dog wolf thing. I can, every time you get close enough to it, it disappears, so I can't really see exactly what it is. I assume it's, I don't know, yeah, some kind of dog, husky or something. So maybe they thought about doing, like, putting animals that are going around or something. I think I said this a while ago, but it's true. I know it sounds a bit grim, but I'm not going to lie. I think it would be pretty cool and funny. If you had animals on this, imagine you were driving down the road with cargo, and then a moose ran out, and you had to kind of split-second decision. Do I slam on and swerve with cargo and risk jackknifing or whatever, or do I just nail the moose, make it go bang, and then, yeah, smash up the front of my truck? Like I say, pretty gruesome, but if you think this is bad, you should see me on Grand Theft Auto 5. I will cross a freeway to run over a person. There's something wrong with me on that game. Yeah, I went through the gateway. That's kind of one thing I wanted to test as well, just seeing... I had quite a lot of luck a few weeks ago with getting through gateways with a loaf on the back, but for some reason recently I noticed it like a week or so ago on the quarry map, and it's still doing it now. So yeah, I was using my little trick though just to get the loaf back in. Basically tip the loaf on its side, winch to the middle of it with like the middle of your truck, drive forward, it'll flick the back end up, and it jumped in. Normally obviously I go in the other way, that's what she said, but this time it was just easier to scoot it around that way, I suppose. So yeah, now we can see the front of the loaf, just in case any of you guys get too thirsty. Too thirsty seeing the rear end of the loaf. Do you know what, I know this is random, but I was thinking this the other week, this is pretty crazy. I'm 31 and I don't think I've ever seen my own arse. Like, that's pretty mad, isn't it? Like, I bet a lot of guys are the same. Like, I've never had any reason to look. I suppose I've seen the edges of it, like, and look round and that, but yeah, that's pretty crazy. Like, for all I don't even know. If my arse robbed a bank and it was in a police lineup, I wouldn't even know. For all I know, I've got the arse of a 50-year-old Jamaican lady. I mean, fingers crossed. If I could choose, then it'd be certainly higher on the list than a man's ass, I can say that much. I'll probably never see it. I don't want to now. Sod it. I'll just think optimistically. I can have any ass I want. In fact, right now, I've got one of the finest goddamn asses on the planet. If I ever imagine the wrong one, just say, excuse me, I didn't ask for this. See, that's the steering for the Voron AE. back on subject. Yeah, it's not quite there. It's not only pretty shallow steering, but it's pretty slow as well. Like turning from left to right, if you full lock left and you try and go full lock right, it just gets me nearly every time. I always end up hitting a post. When you see me crash into some things now, like again, it'd be nice if there was like a little thing in the corner that could show you when you put in steering input, because you'd be able to see just how like far before I hit something that I was actually trying to steer out of the way. So there, where I just grabbed that from, that was originally where you find the twin steer, which, like I say, this mud down here is a goddamn nightmare. I don't, if I'm honest, go on Island Lake a lot. That's kind of why I ended up heading there tonight, because I've not been there for a while and I wanted to stretch the legs on the Voron AE, see how well it does in the mud. But yeah, like, as I said, they kind of set the twin steer up for failure a little bit, because where they put it, it just had no chance, and it automatically made me think, oh, this is a bit shit really. But yeah, once you get it fully upgraded, it's not too bad. You can see I've not even covered there. I could have brought a one of those new radar trailers with me, I suppose, but I've not even done that. I think if Island Lake had a garage on it, it'd help a little bit. It's the same really, I suppose, with the Rift map. I actually do like the Rift map, and I went on it the other day for about the first time in a month or two. So that's how much I've not really been on Island Lake. I just discovered a fuel trailer that I've never found before. I mean, obviously I only missed it by a bit. I drove down the road, sort of, I've just turned off a few metres away, but yeah. It's just, like I say, not having a garage, it means you have to bring everything with you. You know full well if you roll that you got to bring something else from all the way. I suppose it's the same with Pedro Bay as well. I don't really go on that a lot. Or Mountain River, really. Like I say, Rift, I suppose, is even worse, because you have to kind of spawn in Zimnegorsk, then drive through the gateway to Quarry, then drive to Rift, then through the gateway to Rift. And that's just for, say, if you're winching a truck with you, then that's like 2 trucks a time, but still, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Whereas Lake Coved, obviously, has got his own garage, and I use that quite a lot. I heard as well, somebody was saying with that new map that's coming, called Imandria or Imadria, I can't really remember the name, but apparently that's got a garage on it, but you either have to discover it first, or, yeah, probably just discover it, I can't remember. Oh no, we did build a garage, didn't we, on Zimnegorsk? I think you had to build that before you were like allowed it and it was up and running. So yeah, this is the CK you got to grab. I mean, again, even reversing in here, even though this thing is pretty decent in the mud, the problem is with the mud on Island Lake, you can kind of go through it as long as you keep your momentum, but as soon as you let off the accelerator, you can visibly see your truck start to sink down in the mud, and once you're sort of fully sank as much as the game's going to make you sink, then yeah, you just wheel spin rather than driving out. I ended up doing like the, sort of, not really much of a trick, but sticking the winch on the back of the Voron AE to the tree in front. And yeah, once I got my momentum going, try saying that when you're drunk, I was alright, I was getting out there. And to be fair, this thing pulls this CK like it just isn't even there. Like, this is definitely a very good truck. I would recommend it for those people as well who don't particularly like high speed anyway. Like, a lot of people choose the off-road gearbox over the high range. The steering would probably suit it a bit more because obviously the truck itself would be slower. But yeah, I don't know. And I get that, say, the Dolphin isn't even, like, that's not got rapid steering, but once it is steering, because it's got twin axles and, like, some of the steering is, like, a third of the way down the truck, it swings its nose round better, whereas I suppose this is, like, very close to the front. And yeah, it just feels like it takes a little while. But other than that, though, it is a very solid truck. So yeah, we've grabbed it. Yeah, Rusty Legacy, CK1500. Now I've got to basically take it to the other side of the map and just drop it off at the farmer's house. It's not a very hard mission other than the terrain is a bit of a pain in the arse. Again, with that, I could see that miles down the road. I was trying to turn, but it's one of those trucks as well, because it's quite slow for turning. If you have a funny bounce that can kind of jump you to the left a bit, it'll take you like a good second to correct that, and in that time, yeah, I ended up hitting that like random truck chassis that's just kind of left on the side of the road. I hit it on the way and the way back. I'm just going to edit a tiny bit. I drove forward. I was going to tow that trailer back, but then I started sinking in the mud. And if I'm honest, I quickly decided that I can't even be bothered, and I'll just carry on with my mission. One day, there's still enough fuel in it. I mean, look at the loaf. He's having a good time. See, I've not got the winch on the loaf now. He's not got a seatbelt on. Pretty dangerous situation. What you can do as well, though, that I've done before, I've done it in the Dolphin, it's on one of the videos, is have the crane, the little crane on, and then put that over the roof of the loaf, and it's like a roll cage, and it absolutely holds the loaf in there solid, where, yeah, you're not really going anywhere. If you're going to do that, I'd put the autonomous winch on, which this has got, over the Advance, because if you do roll, that crane is going to hold the loaf like exactly in place, so if you tip, it'll most likely be tipped as well. I have to say as well, this thing actually does pretty good at not rolling, considering I've only got the single chained on at the minute. I've not even got the dual rears on. It's yeah, it did some pretty good moments tonight, where I'd say quite a lot of other trucks would have rolled in the same situation. And things like the Dolphin and that are very good at not rolling. That's half the reason why I like it, because yeah, I don't want a truck that's rolling every 2 minutes. I suppose in the end that's why the ANK was originally, it might have been 9th place, the ANK. But yeah, after I started driving around and testing it, it does roll too much, and it ended up, I could lower the suspension, but then you have to put the smaller wheels on it, and then like, I don't know, its speed is slowed down, like it's just not quite the same. So we did that mission, what is it, about $1,500? I mean, it's not really about the money anymore, but it is. It would be nice if they had some missions with some pretty decent money on them, because I've ended up doing, what, 200 odd container, no, well, I actually did about 300 container contests, but I did roll some of them, so say 250 contests, I've earned about 1.5 million off Drownland, so it's got to be around there somewhere. Yeah, I've also done, I cloned 1,000 TUZ bumpers the other week and got 600 grand. I've probably done about 700 or 800 grand's worth of TUZ bumpers, and I still need about another 700 grand to a million. I think about another 700 grand and I'll own all the trucks. Probably about another million to, like, once I've upgraded them all and put all the winches on and everything. So yeah, like, and I don't mind repeating some of the contests, but I don't really fancy doing another 200 odd contest just to buy the rest of the trucks. As I've said, I don't know whether to do a video on that TUZ bumper. I sort of don't want to, because I don't want to bring too much attention to it, but then I might make a video about it if they end up doing this Imadria, or whatever it's called, update, and they haven't fixed like the TUZ bumper duplication thing. Then I might make a video on it, because hopefully then they've kind of missed it, not really paid attention to it. And yeah, I think a lot of people could benefit from it. It's pretty easy, it's a bit repetitive, but I've just been sat there kind of half eating my dinner or watching a video on YouTube, just quickly going through. You kind of learn it like a cheat code in the end, and just, yeah, you get used to it, and I can do it about every 4 or 5 seconds really, so every 10 of them is 6 grand, every 100 is 60 grand. I obviously, yeah, did 1,000, I got 600 grand. I actually did 1,001, just to be safe. As you can see, by the way, when I just drove through that previous bit, I fell off the side of the bridge. I kind of had a funny bounce. I already knew I wouldn't be able to steer out of it, so rather than even trying and then tipping off the bridge sideways, I just kind of let go of the steering, let it point off the bridge. And it was pretty damn close, I'll admit, but of course, Loaf trained his goddamn horse with a vehicle. He's showing the AE the ropes, and yeah, we got out of there. Yeah, remember that container? That was the one that tipped when James Loaf had to get out of there. Which he did, of course, because he's a goddamn professional. And yeah, I'm not doing a whole hell of a lot now. I'm just driving to the Drummond Island entrance. It's like the one on the other side of Island Lake, so I suppose most people probably don't use this one because it's generally easier to set off from Smithville Dam and just go to the other entrance, yeah, and you're straight there. But I wanted to try it down this road. This is where I flew down here quite a few times in the Dolphin and the Grad and all sorts, so I just wanted to see how this one does, and yeah, to be fair, it does pretty well, ploughs along just fine. I mean, I'm in high gear, that's what I do like about high gear, it just sits, like, as long as you can go fast enough to get up to high gear. And this thing, to its credit, is very, very good. Like the Voron Grad, I suppose it's just a characteristic of the Vorons, but I don't know so much about the Voron D, because that's got a special gearbox. But yeah, like, this can be going in incredibly slow speed, even in some pretty boggy mud, and once you put it in high gear, it still most of the time winds up to high and lets you carry on, which I like, because, yeah, like, high range through mud and stuff's quite a nice pace to be flying through there. So, like I say, I'll be back pretty soon. I'm going to get on with my top 5 scouts at some point. I assume that update's going to come out, and then I can get on with that. That's what I've been waiting for, mainly, really, because, yeah, it's about time I had a new map. So, anyway, that's about it for today, though. I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.